All right, welcome in everybody to Gringos Liberados. I mean,
What a start.
I mean, you actually didn't know who you wanted to host today, so I was like, is this me? Is this gonna be me? I guess it's me.
Yep, the way forward for us, you're on it. Yep, it's you.
Okay, right. Welcome to Gringos Liberados, as this is going to be us talking about week 7 of CBLOL Split 2 2024. I am So Chen, this is 4x4, and RMC with me. We've had an interesting week where a couple of these teams had to really prove themselves to kind of stay away from the 5th and 6th place, but it just felt like overall everybody is just tied between 3rd and 4th until 6th.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's funny too, because we thought Loud locked already, like the week before. I think week 6 already, CBLOL had posted that, hey, Loud is locked. And then end of this week, we're like, surprise, there is one, I believe, scenario. I think somebody calculated like 3% chance or something. There is one scenario in which Loud doesn't make it. So Loud is not locked.
No, and it's so cursed, right? Like they literally went through. They did like the Doctor Strange meme. They're like, there were 1,092 possibilities.
Yeah,
in which,
they did.
Possible iterations, and in just 3% of them
Neutron.
do Loud make it. And like you know that the Verdusha, like the Loud fans are just like, dude, why did you?
Why did you curse us like this?
Why did you put that out into the universe? Yeah.
Why?
Can you imagine 4-time champions and they don't make it for the last split?
Playoffs.
Like not even make playoffs. Yeah, like forget the championship. They don't even make it into the playoffs.
No, that would be blown.
That's nasty.
Yeah. RMC, why don't you take us through that scenario real quick? Because you actually summarized it pretty succinctly.
Okay, so I didn't run through all the scenarios, but a quick rundown of what I think I suspect the scenario is KaBuM wins a game, Red Canids wins a game, or they can win 2, up to them, and then Fluxo and FURIA win both their games, and then we get a 5-way tie. And Loud would, because they're playing Fluxo and FURIA this weekend, which should have been an easy walkover if they were Loud of old, that would put them 1-1 with Fluxo, FURIA, and Red, if that were to happen. And then we'd force the sort of like 5-way tiebreaker situations. Now, I'm not super familiar with the Riot global standard for tiebreaks. I know it's like gauntlet style usually, but yeah, I could not, like, it's 5 teams, man. It gets complicated. I'm not going to bother. Point is, Loud to get knocked out.
Yeah, but the big thing is what you mentioned, which is, Fluxo and FURIA both have to win their games. Those are Loud's opponents this week. So Loud have to go 0-2. The second that Loud win even one game,
they're locked.
They're locked. It's over, right? Or, like you said, if KaBuM or Red go 0-2, right?
No, they need to win.
No, they have to win.
Game.
Yeah,
they have to win one
between
game.
them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They got to be 1-1 for the weekend.
Yeah. Well, look, if you're a Loud fan, just win.
Yep, exactly.
Just win. Just
facing their own hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so weird as well because I don't know, the possibility of them not making playoffs is like
no.
Super weird. Right. So let's do the usual where we just approach all of the performances that we had this past week 7, starting from the bottom up of the standings. Loss and Liberty still at the same place where they were, still locked out. I mean, they were locked out, they couldn't get back in, so that's where they are. Unfortunately for them, again, this was not their time.
No, it really wasn't. No, and they, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's not much more to say about them. It really feels like they've kind of given up. I mean, no, I'm not going to say it. We're not seeing a lot more different from them, right? They've leveled up a little bit, but another 0-2 week for both of them. Yeah, again, unfortunately, it's nothing we haven't said before.
No, and in a way, like my newest game I've been playing with myself is kind of okay. How are Los going to lose this game every week? Because we can't really say that they're not doing anything because Los is actually improving at a very rapid rate. They're giving really good early games, and it literally comes way too little, too late, and they still haven't won a game. So, yeah, like in my head, it's like, okay, how are we going to lose this game? And sometimes, if it's really spicy, I go, can they win this game? It's like surely they're going to win one before the end of the split, right? Or one more. They already have one win against
one
Red,
more.
But
yeah. The score of 115 is definitely not where they wanted to be here. So if you are new to CBLOL 2024 Split 2, Los Grandes is on a record of 1-15 in spite of the fact that they have just basically brought the king, the father of Brazil, back on BRTC to their squad. it's not paying off. The squad hasn't really connected. As you guys said, it doesn't feel like there's much to talk about because they haven't changed that at all in regards to results. But feels like at least in a couple of specific moments in the game, they have improved a little bit. Liberty tried to do a roster change, and they did. It's gotten them 2 wins. They're currently on 2-14. Do you guys feel like between these two, starting from you, RMC, is there like a big difference? Because they are both very doomed in how they have been performing. But is there like a big difference between the two? Like, do you see any sort of hope in their players in particular? Not exactly the teams.
Let me just see. Who do they have? Liberty's got Kate Stars and INTZ. And Los. All right. Los Liberty's the last day. Los is KaBuM.
Oh, that's so funny.
The toilet
the pride match.
Yeah. So I kind of suggested it earlier. I think Los is actually the better team right now. Liberty feels like they've really capped out. Like bring in Levizin and Leandrin has looked better for them than Drake Hero and Macau somehow, which is also mind-boggling. But it doesn't feel like they're improving beyond that right now. Like that part just felt like, okay, we made the change. This is where we are. Los is still improving. So I'm looking forward to the last game. I think Los is better right now, and I think Los is. They're still looking for wins. They're still looking for improvements. I think they're still looking to prove to themselves that we are not as bad as we look. We're good. We swear. Like that feels like the mindset.
Yeah. We were just kidding. That's not exactly how we play. And now this is how we play. That would be interesting. Any final thoughts here on the 2 already eliminated teams? Unfortunately for them,
I got nothing.
No. Okay.
They got nothing.
Neither do
they got nothing. Going up, we have the 3-way tie between INTZ, FURIA, and Fluxo, where, again, it just feels like all of the matches for these last 2 weeks of the regular season have been so scripted with how they are going to be played out and how important some of them 100%. Are and how just funny some of them are with Lost and Liberty playing on the Sunday. But this week, starting with... we have week 8 on the screen. Okay, so next week, we have INTZ playing Pain. Not a great position for them to be in, although
Not
Pain did lose 0-2. Yes, true. And they're going to be playing against VKS. Yeah, INTZ is in a very difficult situation.
Yeah, they're kind of rough. And notice that I wasn't talking that much about INTZ, trying to make it up. I guess technically if INTZ wins both their games, they too can also cause loud problems. Like that would just further complicate matters. But I do think INTZ has the roughest schedule on paper out of Fluxo and FURIA and INTZ.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like how much, because not only are Paid and Kate our only 2 teams that are locked for top 6, they are locked top 2.
Yep.
Right. So like how much are like you can, every player will tell you like, oh, we're going to try our best every single game. We're never going to disrespect our opponents. Honey, we all know this subconsciously.
Wait, hold up. There is a player who's flat out said that he limit tests in the regular season.
Robo?
Yeah, Robo's flat out said that.
Yeah,
Robo doesn't say that. I respect every guy.
He is true.
But like
the goat, man.
Yeah, no, but it's gonna be interesting to see how much Pain and Kate actually bring to the party, right?
Sure,
because like again, not only they're locked top 6, they're locked top 2, right? They're just fighting with each other for seeding at this point. I think all you get if you are 1 versus 2 is you get to choose what side of the bracket you start on. I don't know if that decision is even made like before or after you see the opponents, but either way, it's a very, very small thing. Because again, there's no one's in the lower bracket. Everyone gets double elimination. That was the change for this year, right? Is that because it used to be top 4 starting the upper bracket, 5, 6 starting the lower bracket, and you have to kind of do that gauntlet style back up. But this year it is top 2, get a bye, but everyone starts in the upper bracket, so everyone gets 2 shots.
Exactly. And do we have any strong thoughts about how INTZ performed this past weekend? So they played Fluxo and they played FURIA. Well, the other 2 teams that were, and there are, tied on 8-8. No strong thoughts? I guess this weekend was a little bit of a sleeper, wasn't it?
It kind of was. I mean, this weekend mattered a lot for standings implications, and that's why it was kind of fun. Like, it ended up giving us the chaos, the glorious chaos we have, where 3 through 8 is still open. But at the same time, I feel like the only real surprises this last weekend was Pain more than anything else. And ironically, Pain's losses actually don't didn't screw with the standings quite as much. Like, sure, KaBuM and Red get like a small leg up because of what happened with Pain. But even if they had lost the Pain, I think we'd still be in a very similar situation where we are now. So, yeah, performance-wise, I think they all did about what we expected. INTZ won one, lost one. FURIA did well, as we expected. And Fluxo is still Fluxo, Like,
Still
they're just... Yeah, they're better than Liberty and Los.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I think I don't know if I think you said this last week. Remember we were talking off air before a cast, but like you kind of very emphatically and comfortably said like, no, Fluxo right now are the third worst team in the league.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, behind in the green room, sometimes I say things which I don't remember saying, and I can get a little bit spicy at times. So when people are like, "Yeah, you said this," before we went on air, I'm just like, "Wait, what did I say?" And how dangerous is it? How bad is this going to be?
You just tense up. You're like, "Oh no."
No. Here it comes.
Yeah, but this is pretty much it. Yeah, I think Fluxo is just third from the bottom right now. They're better than Liberty and Los, and that's about all I can say. I still don't know where this team exactly went wrong. They were so promising to start.
I know.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of knew that they were going to regress in some way, shape, or form, but I don't think anyone expected it to be this bad.
Yeah.
This bad, yeah, I agree. Coming out from 6 straight wins to 6 straight losses is not something that a team can handle. Especially not a team like Fluxo, like the fact that they were trying to understand how to better perform and they were getting results, and then all of a sudden, wait, what is going on? What is not working? And it kind of just feel like there is a glass ceiling that they've hit. And after hitting that on the 6th win, on the first loss they had, they just completely digressed, which is super unfortunate for them. And I agree with you for the fact that we all expected them to, have a little bit of a struggle during mid-regular season, but not as hard as this was, which takes us to FURIA, where they were also not doing on the opposite end, not doing super great beginning, then having a slow, steady growth. The first that I really like to talk about, the first ever poke composition that did well in CBLOL. And it felt like the spark just diminished a little bit.
Well, I don't know. I think FURIA is about where I expected them to be. Like, they executed the pole comp, which was like absolutely amazing, great, and all that. But it does really feel like FURIA has a very clearly defined line right now, which is, can you beat them mechanically? Like, that's it. Their macro is still one of the best. So if you can beat them mechanically, then you break the macro. If you can't beat them mechanically, then you're just going to lose to their macro. So it's a really weird situation where their macro doesn't kind of define... the macro defines them, but it's micro for other teams, which... The mechanics. You're trying to say, hey, like, can I beat you? Am I good enough? And I think last week, their match against INTZ was actually the critical one. Because that literally, to me, is the playoff defining match, right? Like, if you can beat INTZ, you can potentially make top 6. Because you're better than Fluxo, you already beat them before, and Fluxo's still struggling. So your direct competition was Fluxo and INTZ, and you've shown that you can beat them.
Yeah, and as you both mentioned, the matches on this past weekend were just so decisive. They might have been a little boring, but it was so decisive for the standings.
Yeah, and I mean, we still got a little bit of chaos in the standings. I mean, FURIA needed it, right? Because it was like they what do we say? They were like, oh, we need an 0-2 week this week from FURIA. Like, okay, they didn't, exactly. Hold on, wait a minute. Is this? Wait, what am I looking at? Oh my, I'm not even looking at the right. Hold up. Week 8. God darn it. There we go. I was like, I know they went 0-2. Why am I seeing?
Welcome back.
Yeah, or yes.
Yeah, they needed to. If they 0-2, they'd be out by now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, but it was into this. Yeah, INTZ and Liberty, right? You needed that because again, Red and KaBuM. I mean, in RMC, we'll talk about this a little bit, kind of when we get to that, or like when we get to the Pain section. But like, again, Pain 0-2, but like again, already locked top 2, but against the 2 hottest teams in the league that are just like, oh, they decided to turn on their monitors and just like played outstanding League of Legends. Aegis on the Lilia, even though like his second Lilia game really wasn't all that great, the teams around him was still just so good, but. Yeah. No, FURIA, I mean, they needed it, right? Because they had an 0-3 second super week, which, like, even now feels weird to say. But, yeah. But FURIA, I mean, they don't, they went a little bit away from, I mean, they don't really play that poke comp anymore. They're playing very kind of stock standard, right? They brought back the Vi. Yeah. Wiz is just kind of playing just service junglers, right? Herbivore junglers.
It's unfortunate as well because I feel like those ZZK snipes have been so incredibly fun to watch. But every time you see him on a champion like that, it kind of feels like the rest of the map is all falling apart, and he's the only one that has anything
I
together.
get so tilted that he didn't win either of his Ergon games.
Yeah.
They were so good. I want to see him back on Ergon, actually. Like, genuinely, I think now that the team's actually functioning better, like, now that, Wiz is getting a hold of his herbivorous nature and, like, helping out his teams, like, it's perfect for Ergon. Like, bring it back to CZK. Trust.
Yeah. I think they'll
do it in. Yeah, I think they'll do it in playoffs for sure. At least one game.
Yeah.
Double MBO5, you're going to get at least once.
Yeah, definitely. And those are the 3 teams tied on 8 and 8. So I think we mentioned too much about INTZ, actually. Do you want to approach the...
I mean, we talked about them. They went
Yups, Yampy.
1-1, right? Like, we kind of touched on that.
The Garen game was interesting.
Ooh.
Went okay. Went okay for Garen.
Yeah, okay. That's probably... Okay, I guess the reason why I hesitate was because you picked the Garen to dumpster lane. Garen has very little impact outside of lane. Like, even as far as split pushing goes, there are better lane dominant options. Like, I'd almost take a Renekton over a Garen in terms of just split pushing later on. Like, I know that the execute's always the threat on the split push. I just don't feel like it's that impactful. And you didn't win lane. Like, don't get me wrong. Yips had impact. He did things, but he didn't win lane. The Jax or ZZK got... he survived the early phase and then outscaled. So, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Garen in general. Vital plays a lot of Garen too. I hated it. Yeah, I just don't think it's a competitive champion.
Yeah.
Unless like Adam at God's International Worlds, it's not the theme of CBLOL. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely out of that zone. Now, getting into the 2 teams tied in 4th place, KaBuM and Red Canids, 9 and 7, with definitely starting with Red, that one slowest, just coldest start to the regular split, and then getting into what we know of Red Canids.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. This Lilia from Aegis is absolutely disgusting. Like, he keeps getting away with picking it. And like I said, there's certain champions you need to ban against certain players. Corki against tinowns, Draven against Leandrin, Lilia against Aegis. Just ban it. Like, you just can't be giving these for free. He's too comfortable on it. It's giving them free wins. And I guess my big question actually is, do we think Red can maintain this throughout all playoffs? Like, is this a meta thing? Like, this patch is good for them? Or do we think like they've actually solved their problems and this is maintainable to the end?
That's a $1 million question, isn't it? I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
Look, 6 wins in a row, right? That's pretty hard to argue with. But, like you said, RMC, it is a little inflated because 5 of them have come on one patch, right? 3 of them were last week.
Yeah.
Right? But Aegis, I'm looking back through the games in the Super Week just to kind of jog my memory of stuff. Like, I mean, look, Grev's Lilia, or Grev's, because he played Sion both games this week, right?
Yes. So every time they get the Lilia, they've paired it with the Sion mid.
Yep. And otherwise, the mid jungle combo has been Maokai Talia.
Yeah.
Maokai Talia. 8. Wow. 5 games in a row. It's either been Maokai Talia or Aegis or Lilia Sion.
Lilia Sion.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
that's why I asked the question, like, is this patch better? Because it feels like Red have a winning formula and nobody's breaking it. Like, there are bans for a reason, folks. Like, and with Red too,
sure.
the funniest thing with the Red is, like, you don't even have to ban meta against them. Half the time they don't play or can't play the meta properly. So just target ban, right? But instead we're just going with like general meta bans, which again, hard to complain against, but
yeah, I mean that's the benefit of playing these pocket picks, right? Like, it allows you to play the champs that are quote unquote easier, right? But it is gonna be interesting, right? But I mean, look, Grev did play the Galio earlier. He's got that in his bag, right? I think it's the only Galio we've seen all year. But there are other champions that can be this facilitator mid lane, right? It doesn't just have to be the Sion or the Talia, right? The Talia can flex for Aegis as well. FNB can play just about anything, right?
Yeah, sure.
And Brunsey, if you put him on, you put him on Jhin, you put him on. But again, it's like Brunsey's got 2 or 3 champions that I trust him on implicitly, right? And then, but even if you ban those 2 or 3 out, then your mid jungle is going to be so powerful, right? Yeah. With 5 bans, I just don't think you can ban them out. Like you said, they don't, you have to be very intentional about how you use bans with them. I think if this were like Fearless BO5, maybe then we're in trouble. right? But for now,
Completely different story.
True.
for now, hey, right? Yeah, I just don't think with 5 bans you can completely take them out.
Yeah, I think I concur because at the end of the day, it kind of feels like they're just getting away with it. Like you guys said, like if it's in, they play it. Why would they not? So I think it's a mixture of the meta with the fact that these picks are working for them, so they stick with them. But I don't think that going into playoffs, they would have a deficit because they have been sticking with these champions. I think they already have the pool ready to go, but they just haven't been forced to actually execute them.
I'm actually not that confident they've got the pool ready to go. Like, I agree with your points about like Brunsey and FNB and like Jojo in specific, like
Frosty.
Wait, not Jojo, sorry, Frosty. I agree with your point about the side lanes, but I'm actually not confident about Aegis and Grethtar's champion pools. Like they technically have the breadth of pool to do it, but they just don't look good on certain champions, right? So even if we know theoretically Grethtar could play a Yone, like on paper.
Oh my god, I remember
on paper
that.
He can play Tristana. But you know what I mean? Like realistically, I would if I was playing against Red, I would much rather see Grethtar on something standard. Like go play your Hui. Even the Talia. Go play your Talia. Your Talia is good, but it's not like completely game breaking. Like it's not to the point where like, I don't know how to deal with this. Whereas I feel like teams are struggling to say like I don't know how to deal with Sai on mid. Like that feels like it's the issue with me. Was it Dinkido's Yone who had to run into it and like and
oh my god, that was
Yone is actually a good matchup into Sion, specifically because you built the Blade of the Ruin King. So until the Thornmill starts to come out, like you're fine into the Sion. You're happy to take that matchup. Dinkido didn't look happy, right? And I suspect part of that's just like he's not played this matchup. He doesn't understand like how do I run the Yone into the Sion? Because who the hell's playing Sion mid right now besides like Insanity and NA, like LCS, right? Like who else is doing this?
Yeah. Ugh. That was such a visceral reaction that I had from the Dinkido Yone. That terrible. Okay. On kind of a similar note, the team tied up with Red Canids KaBuM, 9-7. They kind of have, whereas Red, you guys think that, especially URMC, you think that side lanes are doing good for Red and they would be ready to go for playoffs with the depth of pool, but maybe jungle and mid lane not as much. Let's talk about mid lane on KaBuM because Hauz has been like consistently good, even when KaBuM wasn't really pulling off wins. But now sometimes it just feels like Hauz is the one thing tying it all together.
Yeah, BR Jace is a thing apparently, a good thing right now.
Yeah,
also looked in on.
Yeah, no, I've been really impressed with Hauz, right? Because like usually, I mean, look, we still got to see it in playoffs, right? That's where he has been kind of a bit of a serial choker. Slash when he has had a good playoff or two every once in a while, the rest of the team hasn't come together around him. But it really feels like, I mean, like even when we interviewed Seos, like he said we didn't ask him like how were the off the field vibes, but he went out of his way to mention the off the field vibes like twice in this interview.
Oh, interesting.
Like that's not nothing. He mentioned it like in passing, but twice, right? Twice isn't an accident. Twice isn't like a slip of the tongue, right? So I really do think like they're just enjoying playing with each other again. Like good. and like the in-game communication is so much better, right? Even though they had, you know, they already had a Korean, they're already, you know, presumably communicating in English, right? But all these guys have played on rosters before where they've had to speak English, right? I'm trying to think of maybe who hasn't, but like Natuno, he's
Scary maybe
played with. Yeah, I mean, Scary's the only one really, right? But clearly it was a non-issue because he's been the game changer. But.
No, he was Scary. Scary played on the same roster as Lonely, right? That this is not the first time they're playing together, right? The Flawless roster. The Flawless roster.
Yeah, because he subbed in after Flawless got booted. Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, even he has experience with English too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Hauz being going back on the Azir as well. Again, like he can play these AD mids, right? But he can play the Azir as well. And again, like if you're a mid laner nowadays, like if you can handle your Tristana and you can play a control major too, right? If you can do Tristana Corki, which we know he can, right? And then you can do like a control major too, you're going to be A-okay. So I think, and Hauz has all that, man. He's got like the 3 or 4 champions you kind of need, and he can play make on a bunch of them, right? He had another good game on the Azir, which we haven't seen a ton, right? But just having it in your back pocket, just the playmaking potential is so immense there.
Can I just say too, when he did that in draft, I was thinking like, okay, I know they changed Corki. I still don't think Azir is the counter to Corki. Like that was me in draft of game 2 of Saturday when he did that. I was like, but it's Hauz's Azir. I'll take it. Then he won the game. I'm like, okay, maybe Azir is a counter to Corki. Maybe we can counter pick with it. Next day was the Fluxo INTZ game where picks Corki and Fu picks Azir, and I'm like, okay, Fu got this. They get in game, and nope, Fu don't got this. Like, Corki is still an issue for Azir. It's not as hard to counter anymore, but I don't. Yeah, I think it's just the Hauz factor that makes the Azir playable into Corki. Like, well, not playable, but like actually win the matchup. It's kind of hard still.
Yeah, and it was a close matchup as well. Because sorry, go on, Furfo.
No, I was just I won't speak too much to knowing like kind of exactly how the matchup is supposed to go these days, but yeah, look, Hauz is clearly commanding enough respect on it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because the match was really, really close. The loud KaBuM one that we were together on RMC, like at any moment it felt like one of the teams could flip, and that's kind of like why everybody has been like so concerned about loud. Is because at certain points in the game you would expect the loud to be flipping, and they haven't. So props to KaBuM to actually like making such a hard game, although they didn't win this one. It feels like overall, the Hauz Azir versus the tinowns Corki, it was fine. That matchup, those two players on those two champions was fine. That was not the problem for the game whatsoever.
Yeah, and we got to see those really nice shuffles coming through from Azir again, from Hauz again.
Beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. Those are highlight reel moments. Every time he gets this champion, it just feels so good. That said, I know we're not technically... Oh, actually, no, before we move on to La, I was going to kind of transition there. Scary's brand, guys. That's another champion that needs to be banned. Scary is so good on that brand. It's so disgusting. Like, Loud banned it, and you could see right away. And I actually loved what Loud did in draft against KaBuM specifically. They banned out 3 junglers, right? They banned 4, sorry. Brand, Zyra, Vi, and Ivern. Like, they literally took Scary's, all the champions are like, okay, these are fairly low mechanic champions. Well, technically Zyra's a bit more mechanical, but like, we are just going to pigeonhole you off the easy champions. Scary, we want to hand check you. And then Croc just slams Nidalee into his decent. It's just like, okay, come at me, bro. You know, and to me, Scary, I've said this before, like, great guy, love him, love what he did with the team. He's not Croc. He's not going to be that mechanical jungler who's going to like hard carry your team from that role. He ain't Levi, he ain't Junja, you know. Like, just put him on something where he has to focus on his champion, and then he won't have as much impact on the map because he has to split his attention at that point. Whereas you give him something like Brand, and my goodness, his pathing and just knowing how to gank with that Brand is so disgusting.
They threw 4 jungle bans at him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It works.
It does, yeah. Because when you look at the, although it was a case of Pain, well, that's exactly the point. Pain did not ban the Brand, and KaBuM played Brand.
Yep.
Pain lost 0-2. We're going to get to that. But they lost 0-2 on the weekend, which is something that we weren't really expecting after I think we had... Was it last week where we were saying, this is the best Pain gaming we've seen in a while?
Oh, how the turntables.
Oh, Jesus. They listened to you and they said, ha, joke's on you. Because, man, that's not how you do it. Like, that's why we appreciate the Loud draft against KaBuM so much. It felt like Pain didn't really take into account all of the actual threats and win cons that KaBuM can have.
Pain is limit testing. Pain is limit testing.
The last 2 weeks, limit testing.
He repeated over and over to himself until he finally believed it.
Just in rocking in the corner back and forth.
Yeah.
Hell.
Please.
Yeah. No, but look, I mean, like this just all feeds into like playoffs is going to be so much fun.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
Like you could give me legitimately like for our top 5 teams, you could give me any set of, you know, was it? Yeah, because what? Cade paid, blah, 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 like, yeah, anyone except for whoever wins the toilet bowl for the 6th seed between INTZ, FURIA, and Fluxo. Like, the first 5, Pain, Cade, Loud, KaBuM, Red. In any best of 5 that they play, if we were to drop them in right now and you gave me any iteration of any result between any of those teams, I would believe you. I'd be like, yeah, okay. Like, I could see legitimately any result from any of these teams.
That's true.
I don't know. I still think Cade is cut above the other teams.
I was gonna say exactly that. Yeah.
But if if KaBuM and how they're playing right now, if Red and how they're playing right now, right now, if they 3-0'd Cade, would that like stun you?
Yes. 3-0, yes.
Yes. 3-0, absolutely.
I don't think it would surprise me. I don't think I'd be like, wow, what the heck?
I would be stunned. No, I would be completely stunned. I mean, 2-1, I can take it and be like, oh, damn, they fought it. Good job. But if it was like 3-0, I'd be like, what? Be completely stunned.
Yeah, because to me, okay, so the reason why Red specifically, like if KaBuM were to 3-0, I would be shocked, but not like floored. If Red were to 3-0, I would be shocked and floored because to me, Red is winning. Like I kind of said, I think part of it's draft and the bans that are coming through. So I think if you remove Greftar and Aegis's comfort picks, like you don't have to ban both the Scion and the Lilia. You can do like one,
kind
you
of
can take the Maokai for yourself.
Yeah,
and then just ban like either the Scion or the Lilia. I feel the Lilia personally. I think she's got more combos. Then I just don't see a world in which like Red 3-0 that, and I cannot see Coach CL not realizing that in a best of 5 series.
I mean, he already didn't recognize it once.
True.
I mean, I hope he's learned his lesson. I'm broadly speaking, I agree with you, but
yeah, you're right, Forever. You're right.
he has lost his team best of 5 in draft.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. A long time has come since then, and I think that this split altogether has been very, very, very good for VKS, building the already great fundamentals into actually experimenting with new stuff, but also very technically accurate in how they want that to take them to victory and not just for the sake of limit testing. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Not every time it's going to work, but I appreciate that they're also trying to change things up a bit. Now, the only team in third place is Loud. When we started the podcast, we mentioned one of the possibilities that maybe Loud wouldn't be on playoffs. And it requires quite a lot of situations and stars and planets to align. And we would all be stunned. I think that is the one situation that would make everybody stunned. They are now on 10-6. And this weekend they played against KaBuM. They won and they lost against VKS. Any shockers about these results?
I don't know if it's illegal for me to say this, but I feel like they should not have won against KaBuM.
I agree. Yes, I agree.
Like, I know, okay,
just
Robo did a great job early, but Robo also kind of fell off that game. And normally, like, when they win, it's because they have 2 carries. And, like, tinowns, man, like, tinowns Skarky is just illegal at this point.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, that you could take the other side of that argument and say, how did KaBuM let that through?
True. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they trusted the Azir, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
They trusted the Azir.
It's funny,
and
too,
to be
'cause
fair, again, it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't, right? Like, the minute they matchup was fine. It's funny, too, because they banned Mao Sejuani Rumble to open, like, as their first 3 bans. And I remember seeing the Rumble ban going, like, if there was a ban I could change after the game, like, having watched the Corki thing, I'd have to just let Rumble through and ban the Corki, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like Robo's doing fine in the 1v1s. I'm not sold on his team fight. Which is weird. I remember back to, like, last split when his Jax literally 1v5 wrecked Pain. Like, I still remember Jax running at Pain, and Pain just sees one Jax running at them, and all 5 of them start running. No. It's like, that is the Robo Jax in my head. That is not the Robo Jax we're seeing right now.
Oh, yeah. The feeling I get overall is, like you said, like, Robo has been, at least the vibe check I get from him is like, he does this. He has one focus, split push. He does it well. Like, laning phase, he gets ahead. Cool. Then split push. He does it. And then when it's on the team fights, I agree, like, just seems a little lost or not really connecting the amount of resources that have been allocated to him to actually pay off as much as they should have in the team fights. Yeah, overall, I really think that KaBuM should have won that game. I think it might be just off a vibe check again, just because we were casting the game, because the plays on Hauz, they were so good. The engages were very, very interesting. And maybe they just gave that pentakill to tinowns because they just kept on going one by one, right?
Yeah, it was really weird, that game. I don't know, that was kind of a weird one. That said, I don't want to make it sound like Loud's bad. I mean, obviously they're good enough to capitalize on that and understand. And they did fine in the sub-top side. Speaking of topside, Robo and Croc. Croc's Nidalee, guys, like, that's up there with, like, Wiser Nar for me right now. Like, just stop, bro.
It is.
Like, it's working in the 1v1, it's working in the early, fine, sure, get it, but, like, I guess maybe part of the problem for that KaBuM game and why I felt like they shouldn't have won it was that, like, they got massive leads up top, and they just didn't, it couldn't convert. Because, like, what's a Nidalee supposed to do with a 100 CS lead, at 35 minutes? Like, early game, sure, great. And then later on, it's like Croc had low impact. And that's a function of the champion. And speaking of Croc, that game against K-Stars, man, holy crap. Like, I heard on the, from people on Twitter and whatnot that, he might have had an anxiety attack that second game or something. I don't know if that's been confirmed by anyone, but on Loud.
But clearly something's something's up.
Yeah, so for those of y'all who don't remember what happened in the second game, against Kate Stars, I don't blame you. He went 2-6-3, and he INTZ'd 3 times in a row, like in the early game, where he got killed, came back out, immediately got killed again, and then came back out, failed again, got killed. It was like, I don't know what's happening, like in that game. That was a very uncharacteristic game from Croc. Like I genuinely, I know that we joke that sometimes Croc ints, but I don't think I've seen a game that off from Croc before in Brazil.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I mean, I have nothing really to add. No, I just again, you hope everything's fine because even if, I don't know, maybe RMC, you tell me if you feel differently, but I feel like even the most diehard of Pain fans, maybe not the most diehard, I feel like some Pain fans, if you finally got one over on Loud this year, you would want it to be against a full strength Loud.
Yeah, you wouldn't want it you don't want a Loud player to basically crumble and
effectively not exist, play
like not at the expense of a player. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I kind of have a feeling from the interview I did with Croc for us on CBLOL English there. Check our YouTube to watch our interviews. Yay! It felt like he was putting quite a lot of the pressure of them feeling and performing very unstable and inconsistent on his back.
Yeah.
I think that's what transpired from his words. And he was upset that he was under the impression when he didn't do really well or that he had a couple of problems or a mental situation that all the team would crumble around him and that he was feeling, I'm just inferring, he hasn't said that with the words, but that he might have been feeling the pressure coming from that. And to be fair, this could be an example of it, right? Everything just going wrong for him and he might have been too overwhelmed by all the situation.
Croc, if you happen to watch this, and if that's the way you think, don't. Because you know what, you've got the best team. You've got Root and tinowns who are rock solid. These guys don't shake. And if you're worried about inting, just look at your top lane. Don't worry. It's
it
literally
could always
a meme.
Be worse.
Yeah, it's homo. It's a meme for a reason. That guy literally, it's fine. Chill. And here's the best thing about it too. Come playoffs, when you make playoffs, if you make playoffs, Robo will wake up anyways. And then if you want to int, you have 3 solid lanes to let you int and still win games. Genuinely, we have seen some incredibly bad performances from Robo in the past. And it does not matter because as long as you've got tinowns, you've got Root or Bruntsy back in the day. When Bruntsy first played too, I remember in his debut split, Mr. Bodcap, he had some rough bot lanes where he got absolutely smashed by people like Titan, and understand. So Gatuno, I think, was in that split, popping off that split when Bruntsy came in too, right? And there were some lanes he lost, absolutely fell apart. That's fine. You can afford to let some games go.
It might be also a pressure of he's going to be stepping away from League of Legends because of going to the military next year, right?
Yeah.
It is him, right? So that should be also it's his last split after having won Loud having won 4 times in a row. He wants to, in my head, right? Or I assume in his head, they want to finish with a 5 because it's the last split before the merger, before he actually temporarily retires. That must be so much pressure. And when you also have that feeling, of course, Virtus being also Korean, it does mean a little bit of more connection that could be coming. But at the same time, gosh, how much Robo, tinowns, and Redbird just must be more comfortable with each other with the fact they do speak Portuguese, they are from the same country. There are a couple of things that might be just. To be fair, Redbird did mention that he's getting quite a lot of psychological help and assistance and guidance right now that has been helping him
Yeah.
quite a lot. I hope that Croc is having the same safety net.
Well, actually, that's the interesting thing, no? They came out that Lau fired their or let go their psychologist from last split or from last year, right? Since Stardust took over.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't confirm, but if you say so, it's possibly the thing.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
I'm
it.
not 100% sure what the exact timeline is, but I know there has been some fofoka, as they say, with
Some
with the-
gossip.
with the psychologist. Yeah.
Yeah. Part of me is wondering too, because I know, so if you're telling me that you just did an interview with Redbird, which will be coming out later, and, you know, Redbird was saying that Root can be a very critical player because he's always trying to improve, right? I just wonder what the comms are like between Croc and Root right now. Imagine if he's like that to Redbird in English, in Korean, like...
He's just
In
cussing him
Korea.
out.
Yeah. So to give Redbird a break, he said that it used to be much more like that last split, but right now like they're much more in sync, and he's learned quite a bit from working with Root. But yeah, overall, it is quite a lot of mental pressure to think that you are the only team that has ever gotten 4 titles in a row, for that matter, and you could be looking to even finish off the potential. The last split, potentially on a 5-win streak. So quite a lot on their plate. Do we have any final thoughts here aloud, or should we move on to Pain?
They've done it all. There's really no pressure on them, to be honest. They've got the longest win streak in Brazil in CBLOL history, 4 times in a row. Croc is the most successful import who's ever played in CBLOL now, with those trophies as well. I mean, Robo, most titles already done, right? Root's the first Korean 80 carry to win it, and will probably be... he'll probably be the last Korean 80 carry to win it, actually, right?
Yeah, because I was going to say, of the top 6 playoff teams, there's no Korean 80 carries, I don't think, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then wasn't Stardust like the first Korean coach to win CBLOL too?
I didn't put that together. Very
The
well
coach,
could be.
yes.
Something like that. So like basically in almost every single role, like they've broken records already.
Yes.
So like, yeah, like at this point, if you get it, it's epic. If you don't get it, nobody's going to beat your records anyway. The only thing you lose is breaking the whole INTZ has 5 thing. Like that's the only thing you could possibly lose out on.
Yeah, I understand. I just feel like it's on the nature of competitive players to not want to come down as...
Yeah, to be competitive, right?
Nah. Thanks. But yeah, to, come down from having such a great result and then finish off in a bad position. That's more what I mean overall. Now getting to RMC's favorite, Pain Gaming on 12-4. There were 12-2 and lost 2 games this weekend.
Yeah, they're on brand this weekend. Yeah, I mean they're my favorite team. Yeah, but this last weekend was kind of weird. Not gonna lie, I was really upset with how Pain played this weekend. Like and genuinely, somewhat unironically, I do feel like they're limit testing. You have to be, right. Like we're slamming Wisers now repeatedly for no reason.
Yeah, I think just to see if they can. Yeah, see if the kid's still got it. At this point, he doesn't.
No, and I don't think Naru's a good champion in the current meta either. Right, like back in the day, I think it was easier because the snap engage wasn't as big a deal, and I just feel like the damage has crept up on Naru as well. He's in an awkward spot where I don't feel like Mega Nar's tanky enough, and Mini Nar was never tanky, so that was always an issue, and that means you get one by people like Brand who walk by, press R, and you die. Also, Dinkedo's Yone, which I'm not going to talk about. I'll leave Soph to talk about. And Titans Silver. I remember when he lost, I was like,
oh god,
wait.
Yeah, you were mondo confused. I think you were like speechless. I remember vamping for a bit there.
Yeah, 25% win rate before this last weekend. Now 22.2 repeating percent. Like 2 out of 9 games he's won on this Silver.
Ew.
Yeah, like I kind of get why you want to test it. I do feel like Silver could be good potentially in some spots right now in the current meta. Spell Shield's very, very useful, and Scaling's always nice. But if you're picking it here, it's got to be limit testing, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many times already, though, on that win rate.
Well, they're locked second, right? So the only thing they lose is just first compared to second. And at this point, I don't know how superstitious Brazilians are. I'm going to say a lot because the CBLOL fans are pretty superstitious.
Pretty superstitious.
Yeah. Do we want first seed? Is the question.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Pain's throwing. They're limit testing.
They're limit testing, exactly. Yeah. No, I think again, it was so like they were playing such a different kind of compositionally a different style than what we're used to. And again, like it is worth remembering who their opponents were, right? They came up against the two hottest teams in the league, Boom and Red. It was just, I think it was a recipe for disaster, right? Just all that confluence of factors coming together like they did. I'm not worried about Pain. Who are they playing next week? They've got way to flip. RMC, did I tell you how good of a producer you are, man?
I like that you didn't see the mistakes I made where I flickered the wrong things when I was clicking through.
Nobody did.
INTZ and FURIA. Gotta be 2-0, right? And even if you're 1-1, if Cade falls apart, right, they're not going to lose a little. Okay, they have to go 2-0 if they want.
What if 4-4 for maximal fun and to remove Loud from playoffs?
Oh, what are you doing? Like a big brain strategy?
That would be petty. That would be petty as hell.
You see, I wouldn't say sack a player for the sake of winning, but sack a game or two.
Oh, that no way.
I'm kidding.
No, it's like the worst thing that could happen. Jesus.
No, unironically, no, that might be if Pain win the title, but Loud aren't in playoffs. People will still hold that over your head, like you could never be.
They
Loud.
would, yeah,
100%. Sure. Yep, it would not be the real final. So even if Cade Stars is the better team right now over Loud, if Loud don't make it, it's not.
No, there's 2 years worth of hoodoo. Like there's generational trauma in this fan base now.
Generational trauma. It's true.
Genuinely.
Very, very true. Oh damn. And I believe that's how you felt this weekend after the 0-2, right? Yeah. Very difficult to see those. But because all of the games were not close. It was like 20-6.
No, actually, they had the exact same scoreline, 21-6. Both Red and KaBuM won 21-6 over Pain.
Damn.
What are those matchups? So it was the Severe for the KaBuM game.
Yeah, I feel like a conspiracy theorist right now, like trying to chart all the things about why this is like what Pain's grand plan. You know, they're trying to boost these guys so that we could knock out Loud and stuff like that.
Yeah, the other game against the Rose was the Yone. Oh my god, it was awful. It was so bad. He wasn't converting like any ults whatsoever. Dinkedo wasn't converting anything on the Yone on the team fights. Most of the times he was ulting in alone, having to come snap back and not do anything, or he just had to use his ult defensively.
Yeah.
Like it was a 50-50. You go in, no success, or you ulti to get away. Like, man, it was
Armsy, was that the game where he ulted nothing at the very end?
No. Wait, who did that?
Who was that?
That was Envy. That was Los.
Oh, it was Envy.
That was Envy. Yeah, that was the one I almost broke down crying after seeing, because Los
we were playing the game. How do Los throw this? And little by little, sure enough, they fell apart. And then Envy was just in the base and just like, I'm gonna ult that way, and he ulted nothing, and then they lost.
Yeah, that was the game where like for a second we went to stage 2, which was like, well, could Los win this? Because they generally should have. Like,
oh good god,
of all people. And actually, it was really funny. After the game, I told 4-4 when we were setting up and we were like setting up narratives and talking about players, and we were talking about Envy, you know, popping off. I was gonna be like, oh yeah, you know, Envy, he has had splits, has had times where he wasn't the carry, like when he was on Red. But this man is never the problem. And I am so glad I didn't say that on air, because that game was 100% Envy's problem.
He was the problem.
Yeah.
He was every single problem, actually.
Yeah. Red Envy sends his regards.
Yeah.
Yeah, these Yones mid are not working. The ones top
it's the boomers!
It's the boomers!
Boomer
You're right, yeah.
Actually.
Fu and Dioge are onto something. Yups played a great...
Yups played it, yeah.
But
FNB played as well. FNB played it. I even forgot about it. They played against FURIA. They played Yone. I wouldn't expect to see FNB on the Yone, but here we are.
Yeah. It's a good pick for him. I like him on these sort of carries. So like if he plays more Yone, I'd be down for it. Yeah. Jeez.
So do you guys think this performance in particular this weekend was just limit testing? Does it actually affect your judgment on how Pain is gonna come into next week?
Nah.
Not really.
Nah.
Yeah, I think
not even a little bit, honestly. As long as they learn their lessons, right? As long as they don't I mean, look, they could, if they were to run back the same thing in like first round of playoffs and win with it, then that might raise, that would be
some red
great. I think that very well could happen because these players are good enough, right? That's the thing, and that's another reason I'm not too worried, right? Because if they busted out the same thing and they just like 3-0'd, if they 3-0'd Red, right, that would give me a lot of confidence because Red, even though Red are a volatile team, they're not pushovers, right?
Yeah,
I think that is valuable data.
And I think actually this coming week, I do think we can see. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Pain loses games because I wouldn't be surprised if they just spam more Gnar. I do feel like they're trying to get certain picks, which might become meta in the coming patches, down. So I think Red are going to continue limit testing because they literally have nothing to lose by limit testing at this point. And if anything, yeah, like I said this last week too, it feels like Pain's becoming loud, right? Like with how they're playing in the early game, they kind of slouch a little bit and then they come back mid game. Like what would be more loud than to just not care about the regular season games and just limit test the entire way, look like absolute trash, and then show up in playoffs and Wiser starts crushing lane like none other.
Yeah, that is
Makes
the loud
sense.
formula.
Checks out.
Literally it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them, right? They have to become the very things they hate.
Yes, exactly.
Winners.
The arch nemesis. Winners! Oh, that's rough, dude. It's true, but it's
Playoffs
rough.
gonna be fun, man. Playoffs gonna be so much fun.
Yeah. I'm
will.
very much looking forward to that.
Same. I actually got a question since you mentioned the potential meta predictions that Pain might be looking for. Do you think there's anything in particular coming out in 14-15 that could indicate that the Gnar is going to be in a better place, RMC?
I have not seen 14-15.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at that yet.
Yeah, well, it's not officially out there. Actually, I think some people have leaked.
Yeah, it was like the
14-15,
preview.
but
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I mean, the fact that we're seeing like Jace and Sion already, right? Like those are 14-14 and we were playing on 14-13 this last weekend, right? Or no, we just
Yeah, no, we're
we were on
14-14 for Academy.
14-13.
okay. 14-14 was Academy. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for those who I was confused.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I do feel like teams have already started adapting to the new patch and new meta already. So depending on whatever's on 14-15, right? Like if Gnar was being buffed on that, then I wouldn't be surprised if that's why we're seeing it. If Sivir's getting some sort of buff, I could see that. You know, again, I don't know. I didn't take a look at the patch leak yet.
Well, you guys make some final points there about Pain if you'd like, or if you would prefer to just go into VKS. I will have a look, and I kind of want to know what's coming on 14-15. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we can move on to
take
K-Stars, I think, because the K-Stars, to me, was the interesting one this weekend, because I had a personal belief from the last couple of weeks that K-Stars has made a deal with the devil. They have traded in their brains for their hands. Like, their macro got sloppy, but they started just smashing every lane, and, like, they're just mad-moding everything, so it doesn't matter. It beat you every phase of the game. But this weekend, they actually played pretty clean. They went up against Los, and that's probably Los's worst game we've seen
in like the post they've started improving era.
Yeah, I should have think when that streak started, but yeah, that's like the worst game.
Like 2-3 weeks ago. Once I got eliminated, it felt like.
Yeah, and it's not like Los got bad because they almost won, beat Red too, right? So
yeah,
bodied Loud. Holy crap, they bodied Loud.
Yeah.
That game was not even close, and it was just everybody was popping off too. Like Laleko went 5-1 that game, and he won against tinowns Corky. Like what?
That is huge.
Yeah.
What was he playing again?
Victor.
Well, Victor. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
tinowns 0-1-1.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, tinowns is never the feeder, so if you want to hold him, like
No,
basically,
exactly.
my criteria for beating tinowns is 1, did you have more map impact, and 2, did you have more CS? If you did,
CS.
you beat tinowns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, and again, it kind of raises the an interesting point of like I think if things like Victor and Azir are coming back, Redbird kind of mentioned how like tinowns is having maybe a little bit of a tough time adjusting to the AD mid meta. And yet another reason if you want to be a truther about Loud and how no, trust me, they're going to be fine. Trust me, they're going to be fine. If things like Victor and Azir come back into the meta again, it's always hard to ban out tinowns, right? He's still got the pocket Zoe somewhere, but
one day.
Yeah, one day.
His Hall of Fame skin. It should be.
That's the one.
That's
the one.
But I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh,
tinowns has literally gotten relegated before. He's fine.
True. Yeah, so it's fine. Yeah, Smalley though is absolutely monstrous right now. Smalley might be the
He
best
is.
AD carry right now.
I was going to ask you if you think he's the best AD carry in Brazil right now, because he's certainly playing like it, and he's kind of talking like it too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he can.
I'm down for it. Yeah,
Same.
I love the way he was like, "Oh, Root's the best AD carry." I'm like, "But there's Titan," and then Titan played Sivir, and I'm like, "Okay, there's Root."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Smalley right now is performing the best. Root seems to have capped out for now. Like Root's really stable and steady, but I still put Titan over him. And Titan, if you're playing Sivir, you're experimenting. So, like his Ezreal game, I cannot wait to see Smalley and Titan face off again. That match into Super Week was stunning. It was super fun.
Yeah.
That was Jin versus was it Ashe? I think Titan was on. Yeah, like that was super crazy. I want to see like just more of those two going at it, because I do think whoever wins those matchups, like that's the best AD carry right now in Brazil.
Yeah, no, it's just really amazing high level League of Legends. Like their teams are playing really well around them. It seems like they're really rounding into their final forms. And like again, you've got teams where you have a top laner that he can pop off and be that carry threat if you need him to, right? But even though he's not functioning as that right now, he's got it in his bag. He's been there and done that before. Both reigning and both, I think, 2 of our 3 most recent MVPs, Wiser and Gigo. So yeah,
It's true. I'm having a look here. So the VKS pain on Super Week, the bot lane was Chita on the Ashe versus the Jin on Smiley.
It's crazy too, because Jin and Ashe are probably some of the less mobile AD carries.
yeah.
Is that fair to say? I mean, technically Jin builds Swifty, so he gets some mobility. He gets a decent amount of mobility.
Yeah, but you don't have an oops button.
Yeah, like those aren't like the highlight reel champions necessarily, but the way they played in that game kind of was highlight reel material.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, they're playing with a lot of personality, all their style. Yeah, it was a ton of fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember? So the rest of the composition for VKS was Kennen, Sejuani, Yone, Jin, Leona. How was Leleko's Yone? Because we're kind of judging like the Yones in the mid lane. Was it good?
I mean, I guess
It doesn't feel like it's his style anyway.
Yeah, I didn't really. Okay, if we're saying like boomers can't play it, zoomers can. Leleko felt like a younger millennial.
Okay.
Yeah, he's me, born in '97.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's you and I. There we go.
Yeah, like he can
kind of
play it. Like it's not a huge detriment, but it's also not like the carry that Fu and Dioj and Yups make it look like.
Yeah, yeah, and again, it's about the composition you draft around it, right? Like there, like I said, with the Kennen composition, it kind of didn't have to be, right? You're there to just kind of, all the pieces have to work together, and that's what Leleko you've never doubted about him is that he's a great team player, right? He's a very just kind of self-aware player that can play whatever you need him to, right? Which is why I think he shines so well on control mages, right? He's just like, look, give me a job and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Right. Who's the carry? Him? Great. I'll shockwave around him.
Yeah.
Right. I'll make sure I hit a scatter the week to set him up. Right. That's what he does. He's so stable.
And it feels like this split in particular, Leleko has been just improving much more in the early game to actually be more of a potential going away from the enablers and just also trying to bring some of the actual firepower into play as well, which is interesting. Not exactly in the Yone play, not exactly the best of results, but still like the fact that he's more consistent in the laning phase allows us to say, yeah, I think maybe VKS is indeed looking incredibly good, especially compared to, for example, when they play against Loud and tinowns being one of the best mid laners. Is he the best? Yeah, he is, right?
Yeah, I hope he gets a spot post franchising, right? I think because he's in my mind comfortably one of the 6 best mid laners. So if it is just that kind of easy to go 1-to-1, I hope he gets a shot because I would like to see what more he can do. RMC, you look like you don't think he's one of the 6 best mid laners.
I think he's one of the 6, but the problem is Takui exists.
No, the Takui wrinkle is a fair one. The Takui wrinkle is a fair one, but he's not under. But again, kind of to counter wrinkle your wrinkle. He's not owned by Cade anymore. I think if he was owned by Cade still, right? Because they sold him completely to IDL, right? He's not on loan anymore, right? So I think that could really wrinkle.
But doesn't that make it more fun? Because now anybody could go for Takui.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Yeah, but and honestly, if I mean, I don't know what IDL's ambitions are in the competitive space. Obviously, in the content space, that's like just all they do. They've been running Brazilian content for a couple of years, right? But you know, I don't know how the guest slot is going to be determined.
Yep.
But like, I could see, you know, IDL Takui being like that, you know, like just like their slogan is the Time da Galera, right? It's the, you know, like the. So how would you translate galera?
I would say
it's like the people's team, but it's a little more casual.
Like folk.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like a genderless.
Fam.
Yeah, the team of the fam. Yeah, it's like a very genderless
fam.
way. A very genderless way of saying like it's the vibe behind it's like, you know, by the boys for the boys, right? For the fellas, for the gang, right? But have nothing to do with genders. It's very like familiar.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like very up close and personal. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why they have Shrimp, because Shrimp was like, you know, he was like your favorite import's favorite import in Brazil.
It's true. It's true. That's quite a lot of.
So yeah, give IDL the 7th spot. That would be crazy. I think that'd be good. And their
really
jerseys
crazy.
look nice. The sky blue, I really like that.
I dig that.
We love a sky blue. Okay. Yeah, I think on my end, like about VKS, I'm just on board with you guys. Overall, I still think Predator is very, very reliable. Smiley has been a monster, which is
player of the week.
Wide of an improvement.
Damn, he beat out Smiley. Okay.
I think I player of the week this week. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Leleko also very, very reliable. Gigo, as you mentioned for Y4, the fact that he just does really well in laning phase. If necessary, if he needs to carry a little bit more, he can. So they have that flexibility in draft, which I appreciate. And yeah, I just feel like this composition, like affects for VKS right now. For Pain, we just forget last weekend because it just feels like, yeah, they were playing like for shits and giggles. And coming into playoffs, like these moments for the top teams just feel like so exciting going into playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Excited to see how they level up, how we get into best of 5 territory. We've talked so much about the meta, right? And how meta dependent are things. So really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. Well, but before we get to playoffs, we've got one more week. So shall we look at the matches in the last week and what matches stand out to us?
So, week 8, day 1, we got Liberty VKS, and then like top team versus bottom team. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's so scripted. The last week of CBLOL has been decided, like all the weeks have been decided. The schedule has been decided forever. But these matches are so scripted. Like top 1 versus 10. Are they 10?
9.
Or are they 9? Okay, 9. Loud FURIA, as we mentioned before, it could be something to keep an eye on because FURIA needs to be making not changes, but having that step up to actually guarantee they're going to be in playoffs, considering they have been tied for quite a while. I would say that is the matchup.
It's not exactly super inspiring.
It shouldn't be, but
it's very the potential for spice is very high.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, because I can't help but clench when I look at Furia Loud and INTZ versus Pain. Because
there's a little something that's like, maybe.
Yeah, they shouldn't be, but after last week, it could be.
There's a clear favorite in every single one of these matches.
Yeah, there always is. There's a little bit of spice
looking kind of close, you know. I don't know.
Come on.
Damn, Tracy's not on the show.
I was gonna say, like, if Tracy were here.
If Tracy was here, I'd go so much harder on that. But
yeah, it's true.
Hey, Los unironically should have beat Red. So I'm just saying, KaBuM and Red are pretty similar right now.
I hope it doesn't come to that. I really do. It would be so weird. Like, is there a possibility KaBuM doesn't make it? Like, if they lose both matches, KaBuM. Well, the other one's against Red.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, I think there's very much possibility. Yeah.
Yep. Again, the fact that Loud is not safe means that
terrifying.
nobody below them is safe either, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just more based on the matches they're going to be facing, how easier or more difficult it would be to actually make that happen. But again, it's so scripted that it
holds for me to calculate, so I'm not going to try. I was thinking about it, but no.
I think my point is more like how all of these matches, they're all important. Even if they aren't like, oh my God, that's the match of the week. They're all important in regards to standings. All of them. That aside from like Liberty, VKS, yada yada.
Actually,
Yeah.
it is
Anything else that stands out?
rather possible that KaBuM doesn't make it.
That's what I was mentioning. Like they are
Because
super
they're only a game out of
tight,
7th.
and they could, yeah.
Yeah, basically. And they have the 1-1 with Fluxo and FURIA. So it is not that shocking if they get forced into a tiebreaker situation. Let's put it that way. I would be shocked they don't make it, but I wouldn't be shocked if they get put in a tiebreaker. Because KaBuM versus Red, okay, the Sunday games, right? I'm just going to skip ahead to that. I think Sunday games are a lot spicier than the Saturday games. But it also kind of depends on what happens on Saturday. Because FURIA Pain, to me, is actually rather close if Pain is going to limit test. And then... Okay, so the last 3 games... 2, 4, and 5 are interesting to me. 1 should not matter. If Loud loses to Fluxo, there's a whole bunch of other issues at that point.
Yeah, we got bigger problems.
Yeah.
At that point, Loud should also have lost to FURIA, and then I'll just be laughing my head off with tie breaks. Kate Stars versus INTZ should not be close. Kate Stars is a cut above. The only teams that can contest them feel like the top 4 teams. Or top 5, I guess, depending on how you want to rate Loud, because Loud's technically 3rd, but playing like they're below rating. I don't know. Los Liberty is going to be fun, because I think Los will finally get their 2nd win. Red versus KaBuM, though, that's super spicy. And if Red wins, and I think last time, right? Let me double check that. No, KaBuM won the last time. Okay. So if Red wins that last game, then KaBuM is part of the mess. And there's potential for ties and all that sort of nonsense to come through. So, KaBuM is in a bit of an interesting spot. And it could go either way. And Los, genuinely unironically, if they beat KaBuM, I'd be so excited. And I would not be that shocked.
Okay. That's a hot take. I'm
at the point where it's like Schrodinger's Los Grandes, where like anything could happen with this team, and I would not be surprised at this point.
Possible, yeah.
Because they've been in winning situations every single game for the last like 5 games.
Yeah.
But that's
the last few weeks.
It's been 5 games already, and they haven't landed it. So
like I said, my new favorite game is how do they lose this?
Well, there you go.
Actually, no, not every single game. The Kate Stars game was the only game where they didn't have a winning position at some point. But yeah, literally everything else they've been, and even then, Kate didn't take over that game. Like they struggled in the beginning, and then eventually Los did the Los thing and lost.
And lost. Yeah, this Red KaBuM is just going to be such a spicy match to finish off.
Yeah.
Regular season.
It's scripted, man. So scripted.
It's gonna be so scripted. I'm telling you, like it's gonna be insane because, as you say, RMC, it's gonna depend quite a lot on how Saturday goes, so we can actually have a good idea. Because all of these teams tied either in the 2 tied in 4th or the 3 tied in 6th, they are so close. Like they are so close. They're 1 match, 1 win from each other. That is, and even Loud is 1 win from the tied in 4th. So it's, I don't know, the amount of possibilities are really insane to actually tackle, considering Loud has been considering, as you say, like maybe Loss is going to go uncapped or something. It's quite a lot
the fact
that
that only Kate Stars feels like a guaranteed win at this point
yes
in their games is I think what's spicing up this last week so much.
It's a very, very big difference. Who are you standing for?
No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I hope that last match between Red and KaBuM does end up meaning something, right? Because there is a universe in which it's a little meaningless and you're just fighting for seeding, right? But again, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take, Fluxo beating Red, probably Louder Pain losing a game or 2. But yeah, this could be something that makes it so that if Red lose to Fluxo and KaBuM do lose to Los, right? If you get one of those, oh boy, that last match is going to be incredibly exciting.
Yeah, I think the way it gets interesting, FURIA, INTZ, and Fluxo, 2 of them need to win their Saturday games. That's what makes Red KaBuM interesting. Because if they all lose their games and Red KaBuM win their games, then they're home free at that point. They're guaranteed lock for playoffs. And then it's just a battle for the last 6 spot between those 3 teams. Let me see if I can put some links to explain
I'm so excited.
Yeah, because basically KaBuM and Red, if they win one, and Fluxo, FURIA, INTZ don't win one, then they're just behind. But yeah.
It's just insane to me how we actually got here so close in every single way. 8 and 8 for 3, 9 and 7 for 2, 10 and 6 is how far ahead Loud is, which is nothing really.
Yeah.
Jeez. I hope Bane is not gonna limit test this weekend. Just give me a taste of playoff, please. No, just give me a taste.
Here's the secret stuff. The more you want it, the more likely Pain are going to screw you.
It's true.
You got to give up all hope, you know?
I got to
like,
ghost
I don't care
them,
anymore.
right? Just, no.
And that was what happened to me last grand finals. I was just like, I've given up, you know, Loud's got this. And then we went to game 5. And I was like, we got this. And then they drafted Mono Threat Kalista. And I was like, I knew I shouldn't have trusted them.
Yeah. No, the draft was disgusting. But I kind of feel like they are much more prepared in regards to draft this split. Rather.
No, don't say it, Soph. Don't hope. Don't
no,
hope.
I'm sorry. I'm not hoping. Ah! Sorry. My bad.
Gotta get on that VKS hype train till the grand finals, you know?
To be fair, I am very much there as well because I really like where they are and what they represent and how much they have been growing. I think it's a great story overall. Especially because good on them that they actually had the whole entire year before the merger, right? To show a lot of improvement, to actually make potentially top 1 seed twice in a row, you know, doing well until playoffs. And because they've had the playoffs last split, get a little more used to the best of matches instead of just the round robin best of ones.
Mm-hmm.
Righty, should we get on to our community questions?
Yes,
please.
Let's go. Right, so first one coming from Luna Day. She says, seeing as they are eliminated from playoffs, make a case for loss and then Liberty on why they should make the South American Conference next year.
They shouldn't. There are more worthy names and participants.
Oh man, I hate that I'm on the same page.
My one kind of case.
Mm-hmm.
If Liberty sticks to the youth movement thing, because that brand will play anywhere, right? It's like we are about the next generation, right? And we are going to stick to that, and we are going to win with rookies. If somehow you can recapture that, and if somehow you can magically flip, you know, like take the light switch that you flipped this way, you flicked it down to start split 2, and you could just flick it right back up. Then yeah, you're going to sell a lot of Makes jerseys.
That's
nice.
But that's it. It's been really bad, dude.
It kind of has been. I know the question says make a case for Los and then Liberty. I'm going to start with Liberty because I think that's the easier one and for started it. For Liberty too, I do think this split in particular was really unfair to them. Like they literally announced their game plan this split was, hey, we are going to test a new style. We are going to only internally scrim. We're going to treat this like an FC, right? Like football, instead of like league. And we're going to try and pioneer a whole new system. And then they got stopped with news about the nurture. So if they knew there were higher stakes, I think it's very different, this split. And I think to be fair to Liberty, like, hey, they deserve a break, man. Like they were going to try and pioneer something, like, and you just caught them with their pants down at the worst possible time. So like for Liberty, yeah, and I'm just looking at that coaching staff again, man. Like when you got Belzy, you got Turtle.
All right.
Wait, who's the other guy? Alox. Sorry, that was the other one.
Alox.
Yeah, like that coaching staff.
All guys who have been there and done that. That is a championship caliber coaching staff. It's crazy.
It is.
That is the most loaded coaching staff in Brazil.
Yep. And I just think like they deserve another shot to actually show you what they can do if the goal isn't just development this split. You know?
Yeah.
And that's why, like, when you're talking about K-Star stuff, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm really glad too that they started last split and not this split, right? Like, if they started this split, the pressure's on for them to like absolutely perform. And you saw the growth between last split and this split, right? Like Liberty could be that if you give them more time. And yeah. As for Los, I don't know, man. Like, I can make facetious cases like, hey, man, look at Super Clever. Is that the face of a man that you want to kick out of the league? Like, come on, look at how serious.
Come on, look at it.
Yeah.
You know,
I told you.
Look at BRTT. Look at your old man. He brought you up. He took care of you. He went out for milk. He came home, and you're gonna kick him out right away. Come on, right? Like, no, I'm gonna. Los is hard. Like they had such a meltdown, and they don't have the history of other orgs. they've got money.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got money. I don't. Yeah, restart the marriage with the Flamengo brand. They're the most popular soccer team in Brazil.
Sure.
That's something.
Yeah. If they did that,
Maybe.
I'd be down. I mean, yeah.
Same. I think I kind of agree on the Liberty side of things. I'm also going to start with Liberty on this one. The feeling that I get is I don't necessarily think that 1 year was going to be enough for Liberty to actually showcase better results for the strategy they were going for.
Sure.
Anyways, given the fact that VKS was also kind of experimenting with something in a plan and a route, and they just did so much better. Got the first seed both times. So there is, at least to me, a little bit of a problem with the fact that they stuck with Mikau for too long. I feel like bringing in the new people makes more sense. Like for said, maybe just go for that as your brand and how you want to approach things. They have been coming up with great talent from Academy and all of these players that really need and want to prove themselves to maintain in the ecosystem. So that could be a choice. I think that could work. Now, for Lost, man, the only thing, again, that I feel like should be there is Super Clever. The guy does really well. Like he has improved, but the team just doesn't connect. There's too many things to be changed. And I don't know which are the good keys to substitute them with anyway to actually make them better. Yeah. It's too many points to actually have to address. Like all lanes have a problem. I don't know what happened with John Ray. Like he was a great coach. Like he did good by Pain. And all of a sudden, like, what are you doing, John Ray? Like what happened with your team, right? And it's too many things to address to actually try and make sense out of it. I don't know what's the problem, really. We've never figured out what's the problem. We've been talking about it every single podcast episode. So, unfortunately, I really don't have an answer about loss. We'd have to restructure everything from the ground up. Maybe old, new pieces. Everything. Coach and staff players. I don't know.
I mean, we keep saying maybe it's BRTT since it's the only difference. So maybe they just need to hire, a psychologist, deal with some of those daddy issues, and
Pause, brother.
Potentially. I gotta highlight that this is the second time in a podcast that RMC has talked about daddies. I'm just gonna.
It's always BRTT. He is the dad.
No. The other one you were talking about somebody that had an actual child. I forgot which player.
Oh, that was it Tuts? I think his kid was in the stadium that week. Yeah.
And you just said, instead of calling like, oh, he's a dad or he's a father, no, it just said, oh, he's coming out with the daddy vibes. You said it. It's on the recording.
I was either there or I listened back to every single episode because I put in the timestamps and stuff. I do remember that, and I think Soph gave you some grief for it too. So
I did. I said he's a what? And then he explained it was an actual child. Okay. And I said then he's a father.
Yo. That's not me. That's on society, man. Daddy used to be such an innocuous word last time. Look
at that for my force face. Like, bro, what an excuse is that?
That's not me. It's society. Society is broken down at the
All right, next question.
Next question. Move on.
This is what happens when paid OGs a week.
That's true. Just go mad. Okay. Whew. Also, by Lunar Day, you get to pick one champion to buff into pro play. Ooh, I like this a lot already. But it cannot be in their traditional position. Ooh, I like this even more. Who would you like to see and which player would play it the best? Lunar Day becoming in hot.
Wow.
That is, I mean, I need to think about it, but that is.
I got a hot pick.
So good.
Rise top lane, Robo.
Shut up. Why are you like this? Why are you like this?
I told you, paid OC the other week, man. I'm off the rails.
Damn.
You don't want to see Robo redeem himself?
Geeking off the zoinkies, dude. All right. List of champions.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. There's so many of them.
I mean, I don't know. What like? Anivia support.
Oh, okay. I'd be down to see that.
She has, I mean, like, what do you want in a support champion, right? You could do like a little bit of damage, but you've got like hella CC and utility,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
I think.
And you got defenses with the egg.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a built-in GA with the egg. You've got a freaking wall.
Yeah, you got a Scion counter if you're playing against red. Unironically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, so right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because that's our RMC is a fellow Anivia enjoyer, so that was a shout out for him as well.
Ooh.
Thank you, especially after the Rise comment. Thank you.
Yes. You redeemed yourself very quickly just by existing.
I kind of had an idea, but I don't think I'm convinced by it. I'm just going to throw it out there while I think of another one as well. Buff Aurora and have her jungle to match up with the AP junglers.
Is she enabled for playoffs at all?
No. I mean, for playoffs, maybe. For playoffs,
I don't know. For play, I imagine she will be, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were like,
okay,
yeah.
Nah.
I assume like she's either enabled for or they completely not, right? Like,
yeah, I think globally they got to decide that.
Okay, so they haven't confirmed yet.
So I don't know. Which is why I think with so many moving parts, I wouldn't be surprised if they were just like, nope, we'll leave her till Worlds.
Okay.
It's possible as well. Yeah. I'm still not super convinced because they played her a little bit and she's very weak at the moment.
Aren't they nerfing her on 14-15?
They are.
I remember
Am I just bad?
She was gonna get nerfed.
Am I just weak?
I have no clue. I have not played her on time, so.
Let me still go through these. Gotta be something that makes sense for me. What about you, RMC? While I have a think about it.
Okay, like actual non-troll answer. I'd kind of be down to see Twitch jungle.
Oh, coffee and
yeah, we saw some Twitches this split, but like in the jungle, like I think it'd be.
He used to be a jungler, right?
Yeah, she's jungler in solo queue. In comp, it's a lot more complicated.
Jungler, yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
But like with the marksman comps we keep seeing right now, triple marksman is a thing, and coming up the jungle, I think it actually could be quite potent. Yeah, so I'd like to see. I'm just trying to think which I'd like to see actually play it.
Build him AP, give him to Aegis.
Actually, unironically true. Yeah, I was thinking like Karaoke, but then I don't know if it's really his style of champion. Aegis might actually be a good pick for it, or Desamis. Actually, I don't know why in my head I think Desamis would be able to play it.
I in my head he would be able to play it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know why his name stands out for me. For a Twitch jungle, but I would actually really love to see Kate Stars. I think as a team they could pull it off nicely.
Yes.
And it'd be like double flex because Smalley actually played Twitch, right? So
true. I forgot about that. Yeah, played against Liberty, right? When they were definitely not limit testing and for sure respecting their opponents the exact same way as
the exact way CL has never said anything that completely wasn't true. Like, yeah.
Do you guys have any thoughts about a potential Quinn mid?
Oh,
buffed.
What would you say?
Quinn mid.
A buffed Quinn mid.
Yeah, with all the AD champs? Hell yeah, actually.
The AD champs with the rotation, there's quite a lot that can come out of that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. Yeah, I've got
just roll swap Leandrin into mid to play it. Leandrin used to be a solo queue.
You're right.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, because I remember, I think it was an interview. I can't remember how it came up, but people were saying, "Oh, you're a one-trick Draven," and they're like, "No, actually, I was a one-trick Quinn."
Yeah. Okay, so are we all set on our decisions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had the Quinn mid, 404.
Navy support.
Navy support and RMC.
Twitch jungle.
Twitch jungle. There we go. Now going on to the next question by Mickey. They ask, I think adding to this, maybe we could discuss criteria too. Ooh, about the Liberty question. Sorry, I should have read it before I started reading. The Liberty staff have argued previously that they have a great sports infrastructure, a place where players could grow, in theory at least. And honestly, it's the truth. Maybe they're just going bad in decision making and roster building. So just to piggyback off the first Lunar Day question.
Yeah. Okay. I think we kind of
addressed it.
Kind of addressed it partially. I will say this much too. I don't think that Riot's criteria is our criteria, right? Like, I don't think they're looking at player development necessarily from the tier 1 orgs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I suspect, again, I could be wrong. I have no insight into how Riot's choosing this, but I suspect it's like money, viewership and history, right? Like how and potentially like recent success, perhaps. I know they've said that's not coming into play. I call BS on that.
It has to.
Like I don't think Loud's not gonna make it. You know?
No, that would be like the dumbest decision
that would
in
be
the world.
The stupidest thing. No, exactly. They're the most passionate fan base behind Pain. They have a successful Valorant team until recently, unfortunately, but they've got brands in other esports, Free Fire and all that.
So I think that
as well,
Riot's criteria probably wouldn't include that. That's kind of why I was like showing them a case for Liberty, because the things we care about, like it's all about player development on that team, right? Like that we keep talking about, like they're coaching the infrastructure. Exactly what you said, Mickey. You know, I don't think any of that matters for Riot in tier 1. For tier 2, for developmental, I think that'd be absolutely huge. But there's just not the same money in tier 2, so that'd be a question of Liberty wants to continue doing that sort of stuff. They don't have that sort of money.
Yeah, and not enough guarantees that they could make it to tier 1 back up, right? So yeah. I agree. And with that, we hope, Mickey, that we have addressed your question on the first question as well, because I think we passed through plenty of things here. Are we good to finish this one off? Any final thoughts from either of you?
No. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, so thank you all so much for being here with us and catching CBLOL English podcast at Gringos Liberados. We are here every week. And remember that this weekend we're going to be covering week 8 and final week of regular season of CBLOL 2024.2, the final season of CBLOL as it is before the merger. Thank you so much. Catch us on CBLOL_English on all socials, and we'll see you this weekend.